Part 69. The Sweetness of the Seventies. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 683. 681. In the evening, He Tiantian and Huo Yingjie discussed two plans. The first is to join directly. The general agent in Hawaii City will pay a franchise fee of 10,000 yuan a year. After that, you need to buy seasonings and pay extra every time. All the remaining profits belong to Niu Daijin and Qi Xiaoyan. The second one is that He Tiantian provides the seasoning for free, and Niu Daijin uses the Sanfen Kiao brand for free, and she takes 30% of the profit every year. Is this okay? He Tiantian showed Huo Yingjie the written plan and asked for Huo Yingjie's help. Huo Yingjie took it and looked at it and said, both options are good. Which one is better? He Tiantian asked. She was a little hesitant. Huo Yingjie put down the plan in his hand and asked, what do you mean by good? No matter how much money I make in the future, it will not affect the relationship between me and them. He Tiantian said, money is very good, but if the pure relationship between them is changed because of money, it will be a bit outweighed by the gain. Oh, Huo Yingjie nodded, haha, you don't have to worry about this. Without supervision, people's hearts are fickle. Even if we do nothing, maybe the relationship in the future will weaken or become better. Even if we do, as long as we supervise each other, it will not change, everyone will still make money, and the relationship will be better. He Tiantian listened and nodded, brother Yingjie is right. What changes is never money, but people's hearts. As long as I pay more attention, Xiaoyan, De Jun's nature is not bad, and it shouldn't be affected by money, the relationship between the two families. Well, that's it. Huo Yingjie nodded, no matter which one, let them choose. But I think they choose the second one. Firstly, the first investment is a bit big for them, secondly, the investment is big. The risk is high. The second option is much better, just rent a store, decorate the store, and buy tools. Sure enough, after Niu Daijin got the plan, he chose the second option without hesitation. Brother Daijin, you have to think clearly. If this is the plan, in the future, if you make 10 yuan, I will have 3, if you make 100, I will have 30. He Tiantian reminded, so as not to divide it later. When it comes to money, Niu Daijin is not happy. Seeing that your business here is good, I am not afraid that this business will not make money. Niu Daijin smiled. At the same time, I also know that the first option is the most beneficial to me in the long run, but I cannot accept it. First, because I only have a few thousand yuan in hand, and I don't have that much money. Secondly, I don't want to take advantage of you. You want 30%, which is already very little. After all, you authorized the brand to me, and you also provided secret seasonings. It's free. In the long run, the second one will suffer, but I would rather do it this way so that we can repay your support for us. Seeing that Niu Daijin had thought clearly, He Tiantian stopped trying to persuade him and said, okay, since you agree, I will make a contract when you go back and let's finalize these things. From now on, we will cooperate well, make good money, and make good money. When it comes to sharing money, no one can hurt their feelings because of money. That's natural. Niu Daijin said, love is the most important thing. Niu Daijin has only joined the braised meat shop and dim sum shop. He doesn't have the energy to do it for the time being. He will talk about it later. This trip has achieved its goal. Niu Daijin is very happy and can play with peace of mind. Finally, he no longer wastes his youth in a leisurely unit. He Tiantian took Qi Jinmin, Qi Xiaoyan, and Grandma Qi around to play. There were many adults and children, and He Tiantian especially hoped to have a business car so that she could drive away. Fortunately, the surrounding scenery is not too far away. Young people walk and children and the elderly ride in tricycles. Qi Jinmin saw all the bicycles on the road and said in surprise, oh my god, why are they all bicycles? Why are there no cars? Everyone looked at Qi Jianmin with expressions like they were looking at fools. Haha, it seems I said something wrong. Qi Jianmin smiled, I saw a lot of jeeps. China should be able to produce cars. It can be produced, but people have to be able to afford it. He Tian replied, some people can't even afford a bicycle. But you can afford it, Qi Jianmin said, the shop you open is very profitable, I know. He Tian rolled her eyes and said, I can afford it, but the cars from those car factories are allocated as soon as they appear on the market, so I can't buy them at all. Oh, Qi Jianmin was disappointed, the United States is better. As long as you have money, you can buy a lot of things. Haha, each has its pros and cons. He Tian said, now that the economy is liberalized, it will become more colorful in the future. Qi Jianmin looked around, then at some people like He Tian who got rich first, thinking that the demand for cars would increase dramatically in a few years. Sister Tian, my family has an automobile industry in the United States. Now that the country is reforming, can I bring the automobile industry to China? Qi Jianmin said. She inherited a car factory from her grandfather. Although it is a small factory, its annual profits are objective. However, she didn't like business before, so she came to take care of her grandmother and was unwilling to run it. Now she has discovered a business opportunity and feels there is a lot to do. Car factory, He Tian was stunned, the one with a large investment? And will the United States allow you to invest in country H? Those are not cutting-edge technologies, why are they not allowed? I heard that Volkswagen in Germany is looking for investment opportunities in country H. Qi Jianmin said that even in Kijia village, she had channels to understand the situation outside. Qi Xiaoyan was also surprised. Qi Jianmin said that this is not a braised meat shop. Everyone needs to eat. Although it is expensive, everyone can afford it. Jianmin, look at everyone riding bicycles. Who would buy a car? It's so expensive. Qi Xiaoyan pointed at the crowd of bicycles and was not optimistic. Qi Jianmin smiled and explained, my grandfather told me a little story when I was a child. Two salesmen went to a place to sell shoes, but the locals didn't wear shoes. One of the salesmen, like Sister Xiaoyan, saw something wrong. After putting on the shoes, he left. But the other salesman was overjoyed. No one was wearing shoes, which proved that this was a blank market. Whoever comes in first will be the first to control this market. He Tian and Qi Xiaoyan were stunned, surprised by Qi Jianmin's thinking. He Tian thought of the big cars and small cars of later generations running all over the place and being stuck in traffic jams forever, and she realized how popular and common cars were in later generations. You're right, if you don't have it now, it doesn't mean you won't have it in the future. If you don't have money now, it doesn't mean you won't have money in the future. He Tian said, if you want to do it, then go ahead and do it. Well, I'll go back and think about it. Qi Jianmin said, it was time for her to start a career. During lunch, the conversation came up somehow about Qi Jianmin, and Qi Jianmin's idea of investing in setting up a factory to build cars in China. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Qi Xing Cao. Chapter 684. 682. Grandma Qi San listened. She didn't understand these things, but she supported her granddaughter's idea, but in the end she told her to discuss it with her father. After all, the amount of investment is huge and cannot be matched by previous canneries. He does not mean that. Huo Jekan kept it in mind. If possible, he would like to have a good talk with Qi Jianmin. Huo Jekan found an opportunity and said to He Tian, do you want you to tell Jianmin that if you come to Nanxi to set up a factory, I will provide preferential policies? How could He Tian forget this matter? Now the public is the main force in economic development. Whether he does well or not is directly related to the speed of reform and is crucial. Yes, Dad, I will tell you. He Tian nodded. It can be said that Nanshi is now more suitable for attracting investment, and policies are equally important as the thoughts of local government officials. Compared with other industries, the automobile industry has more technological content and can create a large number of jobs. Then I'll trouble you, Huo Jekan said with a smile. If he could get an automobile factory to invest, the results would be even more impressive. When he Tian told Qi Jianmin was not surprised and said, although that is my hometown, I have to say that Nanshi is more suitable than Huishi. From the leadership policies to the people's purchasing power, all are better. Haha, my father-in-law advocates reform and attaches great importance to attracting investment. Please consider it carefully, he Tian said. However, the decision should be based on the interests of your company and do not take into account my opinion. Well, I understand, Qi Jianmin said. This matter is not something that will happen in a while. If we really want to cooperate, we have many things to discuss. The venue and factory buildings are easy to solve. All we have to do is spend money. But it's hard to find workers, especially skilled workers. Domestic students are all allocated. We don't know where to get some of the young technical talents and skilled senior technicians we need, so there's a market here. Although it is big, it is full of difficulties and we need to conduct a comprehensive inspection and review. That's right, he Tian smiled, it's very troublesome. Everything here requires a good relationship with the government. Our important parts can be imported, but other small parts are not worth importing. We can only seek material supplies through government coordination, Qi Jianmin said, a good leadership team very important. This investment is huge and requires good policy coherence. It is not possible for an official to make the decision. After he is transferred and another official comes, he will overturn the previous agreement. This is a big no-no in long-term investing. Nothing should be impatient. We need to explore slowly and test the attitude and bottom line of the Chinese government. He Tian is only responsible for passing on the message, and what to do next is a matter between the two of them. She can't control it, and she doesn't understand it. Qi Jianmin wrote a letter and sent it, hoping to get a reply from his father. Since learning what Huo Jekan meant, Qi Jianmin often chats with Huo Jekan about business matters. Qi Jianmin learned a lot about the government's policies and felt the sincerity. At the same time, Huo Jekan also got a lot of inspiration from Qi Jianmin's words. When attracting investment, we need to pay attention to things, especially talents. It seems that universities in Nanshi are going to expand their enrollment again. Otherwise, we simply cannot meet the needs of economic development. Qi Shuliang received a letter from his daughter. Thinking that Baiqianjiao also has an automobile industry, Qi Shuliang came to visit with his wife. Baiqianjiao had already received the invitation and told her daughter-in-law Wang Shuping early that the whole family was waiting for the arrival of Qi Shuliang and during the weekend. After Wang Shuping arrived in country M, she lived a full-time housewife life. However, in Baiqianjiao's private manor, Wang Shuping has her own greenhouse. When she has free time, she can continue to study or plant some fruit trees and flowers to enrich her life. He Jingyu followed Baiqianjiao and learned some management work together. But most of it was just pretense, and Baiqianjiao still made most of the decisions. Mom, everything is ready. Do you have anything to add? Wang Shuping asked. When she first came to country M, she didn't understand many things. Fortunately, her mother-in-law patiently taught her. Baiqianjiao nodded and said, "You have done a good job, there is nothing to add." Baiqianjiao is a very independent and strong woman, but she is not rigid in doing things. She is especially tolerant of the hard-won family ties in her old age. Although the son has no talent in business, he is still filial, staying with her and helping her with some small things. The daughter-in-law is even less talented in business, but in family life, she is very organized and well-adjusted. Baiqianjiao is most satisfied with her 4-year-old grandson. She no longer expects to train her son, daughter-in-law, and granddaughter to become her successors. She can only place her hope on classmate He Daodu. Okay, I will prepare according to these, Wang Shuping said. By the way, Mom, I heard that the domestic economy is now open. Should we also go to open factories in China? Bai Qianjiao knew that Wang Shuping missed her daughter, but she was not disgusted. She smiled and said, the company is evaluating it. Oh, Wang Shuping smiled, very happy. If it is convenient to go abroad and return to China in the future, I can see my daughter often. He Tiantian originally thought that after graduating from college, she would stay in school and still have summer vacation, so she would take her children abroad to visit her grandparents. Wang Shuping also saw it from the letter, but it will still be another year, so she can't wait. He Jingyu took He Daodu to play football on the lawn outside, and He Daodu's cheerful laughter could be heard from time to time. Xianglin poured a glass of water for Bai Qianjiao and said, Miss, the house is so lively now, I can even wake up from my dreams laughing. Yes, the family is very lively, unlike before when it was just the two of us, Bai Qianjiao said. Now the Bai family's business has been inherited, so you don't have to worry about having no heirs. Miss Tiantian is actually very smart, but she doesn't have this ambition. Xianglin felt it was a pity that He Tiantian gave up such a huge industry. Everyone has their own ambitions, and we can't force it. As long as she is happy, Bai Qianjiao said, although she also likes He Tiantian, her granddaughter doesn't like these things. She can't be a big stick to beat the Mandarin ducks and tie her up. Bar. Haha, that's true, Xianglin said, but I saw the latest letter, saying that the lady bought a house and opened a shop, and the business is not bad. Yes, although Tiantian has a gentle personality, she has a strong temper. She feels embarrassed to keep taking money from us. Once she starts her own business, she can make money on her own without the pocket money we give her. Bai Qianjiao smiled bitterly, but this way that's fine. By being self-reliant, she can live a good life even if we are no longer here. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 685. 683. Xianglin likes the young master because He Daodu is the future heir, and she likes He Tiantian even more because He Tiantian is very similar to the young lady. Xianglin nodded and said, anyway, I think Miss Tiantian not only looks like you, but also has a similar temperament. Haha, that's true, Bai Qianjiao said with a smile, I still miss her a little bit. Anyway, Miss Tiantian will come over next year, Xianglin said comfortingly, we can reunite as a family then. If we set up a factory in China, we may have more opportunities to meet. Yeah, Bai Qianjiao said, I guess Qi Shuliang came here to discuss with me about returning to China to set up a factory. Oh, miss, please pay more attention to that, Xianglin said with a smile, I want to see the twins. Although I can receive photos every month, they are not as good looking as real people. I really want to see it, it's festive. Bai Qianjiao smiled, and the wrinkles on her face became gentler than usual. At this time, the maid came in and said, Mr. Qi, MRSG is here. Bai Qianjiao went downstairs, where He Jingyu and Wang Shuping were already waiting. Ms. Bai, I haven't seen you for a month, but you still look beautiful, Qi Shuliang complimented. In the United States, he is used to meeting ladies and giving appropriate compliments. Bai Qianjiao smiled and said, Mr. Qi is also handsome and has extraordinary bearing. Haha, mother, brother, please stop complimenting each other. I'm a little embarrassed to hear that, He Jingyu said. Come, it's sunny outside, let's go out and sit. Drinks, wine, fruits, snacks, etc. are already outside. Okay, I like the Bai family's garden best, Qi Shuliang said, holding Annie's hand and following He Jingyu to the garden behind. The garden at the back, thanks to He Jingyu and Wang Shuping, added some of their favorite flowers and plants on the original basis, making it picturesque all year round. We are all our own people. Bai Qianjiao was not polite. She picked up a cup of rose tea and asked softly, Shuliang, tell me, you are here not just for fun, right? Haha, Ms. Bai has a keen eye. I can't hide anything from you, Qi Shuliang said with a smile, and then took out a stack of documents from his bag. This is the information sent by Jinmin. Take a look. If you are interested, we can go back to China to invest and build factories together. Bai Qianjiao did not answer, but took the pile of information and looked at it carefully. Others drank tea silently. After a while, Bai Qianjiao took off the glasses and handed them to Xianglin. She nodded and said, this is a good project. I will consider it carefully. Looking forward to cooperating with you, Qi Shuliang said with a smile. The formal talks are over, let's talk about domestic affairs. Okay, He Jingyu said, brother, let me tell you, in a while, the peaches I planted in Kijia village will be ripe. I really want to eat those peaches. Didn't you already plant some peaches? Why do you still miss the peaches in Kijia village? Qi Shuliang asked with a smile. This sworn brother was so nostalgic. It's different. I used the same method and the same material. Although the grafted peach trees taste good, they are not as good as those in Kijia village. He Jingyu said regretfully that transportation is not convenient now. If possible, it would really be better. I want to buy some and mail them here. But the peaches in Kijia village are really delicious, Qi Shuliang said in agreement. Let's not talk about peaches. How have you been studying recently? He Jingyu shrugged his shoulders and said with a helpless smile, I can barely cope with it. Fortunately, my mother is by my side, otherwise I wouldn't be able to control it. It's just that it makes my mother very hard, and my son feels uneasy. You have worked very hard, and I am very satisfied. Bai Qianjiao smiled, and she did not have high demands for this son. He Jingyu knew that his mother was encouraging him, and he knew how much he weighed. Wang Shuping and An were chatting about children, jewelry, and the latest clothing. Shuping, I have an invitation to the fashion show. If you like, you can go with me, Annie asked. She knew that Wang Shuping was a full-time housewife, so she wanted to take her out to have fun. Wang Shuping nodded and said, okay, I just bought some good-looking clothes for Tian Tian. In the past, the national conditions were like this, and everyone couldn't wear colorful clothes. Now that the reform and opening up has begun, you can wear them. I must dress up Tian Tian well. Okay, not only will I buy clothes for Tian Tian, but you will also buy them, Annie smiled. Anyway, the Bai family has money, so buying a few clothes is nothing. Okay, let's go together then, Wang Shuping said. Although her mother-in-law was very kind to her, there were some things that she didn't have time to take her out for a walk or make friends with. An became Wang Shuping's social introducer. Through An, Wang Shuping met many friends. On weekdays, when everyone has free time, they drink tea and go shopping, which is quite relaxing. Qi Zhengan and He Daodu were staring at each other without saying a word. Do you miss your sister? Qi Zhengan asked He Daodu in a low voice. He Daodu said without thinking, I think. His mother shows him photos every day, and he often receives gifts and letters from his sister. He always remembers that he has a biological sister in country H. I want, to. Qi Zhengan said in his heart. The busy work can make him forget it temporarily, but when he sees something related to He Tian Tian, he will think of that smart woman. He knew she was married. If you disturb her again, it will only cause trouble to her. But love is like a tenacious grass. Even if it grows under stubborn rocks, it can still sprout buds from the cracks in the rocks. When he couldn't stand it anymore, he returned to his country. After seeing her, he was afraid that he would do something disgraceful, so he left in a hurry. After leaving, a new round of longing began. After getting the document from his sister, he wanted to go to China again. He kept telling himself that this was work, but in the dead of night, when he dreamed back at midnight, only he knew that he missed her and wanted to see her. Sometimes, he regrets it. When you were young and energetic, why did you stop pursuing someone after being rejected? If he had kept pursuing, maybe he would have become her husband, and those two lovely children would call him daddy. Your sister is in China, don't you miss her? He Daodu asked, tilting his head. Think, Qi Zhengan said, smiling helplessly. He Daodu tilted his head and asked seriously, are you in a bad mood? Okay, Qi Zhengan smiled bitterly. Facing a face that was somewhat similar to He Tian, he wanted to take a few more glances. You're lying. You're obviously in a bad mood, He Daodu said. If you're unhappy, you can tell me. I won't tell anyone. Haha, Qi Zhengan smiled and rubbed He Daodu's round head. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Qi Xing Cao. Chapter 686. 684. Qi Zhengan got up and walked in the garden. This has become his inner demon. In the past few years, he found a girlfriend and got along with her very seriously. However, not long after getting along, He Tianation's shadow flashed in his mind. Then there is no throbbing of love or sweetness of love at all. Maybe he should try it again. Maybe it will succeed. After this visit, Qi Zhengan focused more on the country and prepared for his return to China. At first, his father wanted to locate the automobile factory in Huai City, but Qi Zhengan put a lot of effort into persuading his father, and finally the location was set in Nan City. In Nanji, we are closer to her. At the same time, Nanji's policies, economy, and technology are all better than Huaishi. Bai Qianjiao also agreed to the cooperation proposed by Qi Shuliang, and the two families invested together to set up a factory in Nanji. Although Bai Qianjiao does not have a car company, she does provide several key parts such as engines for car companies, and Bai Qianjiao's industries are in country F. These technologies are not allowed to be transferred abroad, so they can only cooperate in a roundabout way. However, despite the twists and turns, it went smoothly. He Tian didn't know about things abroad, but she was very happy. Her mother sent her the latest autumn clothes of the season. My mother has good taste, and her clothes are nice, modest, and suitable for domestic wear. Qi Xiaoyan was very envious and said, Sister Tian, I want to shamelessly ask you for a piece of clothing. Please take pity on me and reward me with one, right? Qi Xiaoyan was rude to He Tian, pretending to be pitiful, shameless, and asked for it directly. He Tian smiled and said, the clothes are all there. As long as you can wear them, you can take them as you like. That's what you said. Qi Xiaoyan sharpened her knife and pounced on He Tianation's wardrobe like a hungry wolf. Qi Xiaoyan gestured, and it looked about the same, and she thought she could put it on. However, even if it is put on, it cannot be zipped or buttoned. Finally, Qi Xiaoyan held a silk pajamas in her hand and said, Sister Tian, I can only wear this dress of yours. Haha, He Tian laughed, okay, I'll give you the silk pajamas, purple, to match your skin. Okay, Qi Xiaoyan said sadly, it seems that I will lose weight when I go back and never listen to the fallacies of the powerful army. By the way, this Teacher's Day, I want to go on stage. Sister Tian, please choose an outfit for me. Bar. He Tian knows that Qi Xiaoyan likes to sing and attaches great importance to this opportunity to be on stage. By the way, my mother sent me clothes last year. There are 2 or 3 pieces. I haven't worn them yet. I think you can wear them, He Tian said, getting up and looking for them in another wardrobe. Last year He Tian was a little fatter and her clothes were a little bigger. He Tian dug out 2 autumn clothes and a summer v-neck skirt. Chi Xiao Yan tried it on and said pleasantly, "Oh, it's a little tight, but if I lose a few pounds, I think I can wear it. Anyway, it's not suitable for me to wear now. If you like it, take it away." He Tian said, "If you like singing, then sing well. When Brother Dajin makes money, I will release a record for you." I'll give you a few more signed records then." Chi Xiao Yan chuckled, joking at the time. After Niu Dajin visited Nanxi for a few days, he hurried back to Daowen County. He wanted to go back to build a shop and decorate it, everything according to the standards of Sanfen Qiao in Nanxi. In order to maintain consistency, he also took many photos of Sanfen Qiao stores in Nanxi to ensure consistency. Grandma Chi San, Grandpa Chi, and Chi Xiao Yan had a great time in Nanxi with their 2 sons. In late August, Chi Xiao Yan was about to start school and had no choice but to leave. "Tian, it's September soon, and it's time for us to go back," Grandma Chi San said with a smile, bidding farewell to He Tian. "I've been living there for more than a month now, and I feel a little homesick." Grandma Chi San, Old Man Chi, discovered that no matter how good the outside world is, it is not as good as his own home. "Grandma, why don't you stay for another month and I'll take you back personally?" He Tian was a little reluctant to leave Grandma Chi San and wanted Grandma Chi San to stay here longer. Grandma Chi San smiled, looked at He Tian with a red face, touched her head, and said, "There is no such thing as a banquet in the world. It has been more than a month since we passed. Seeing that you, your husband, your wife, and your children are all well, I will also, don't worry. When I go back with Xiao Yan this time, you will start school soon, so I won't delay your studies." "No delay, never delay," He Tian hurriedly defended, worried that if she spoke too late, Grandma Chi San would misunderstand her. "Well, I still don't know what your child is thinking," Grandma Chi San said. "You are filial, but I really miss home, and your Grandpa Chi also wants to go back. The house at home has been built. This year we've already moved in the spring, so if you have time, you can take your children to check it out." Seeing that Grandma Chi San had made up her mind, He Tian couldn't continue to persuade her. "Okay then," He Tian said, "Grandma, you have to take care of your health and live a long life. In the future, you will see Ruiman get married and Ruwa get a wife." Haha, Grandma Chi San smiled, "Yeah, I'll try my best." Grandma Chi San has no worries and no burdens in life. She can relax and do whatever she wants, which is quite enjoyable. The same kind of life made Grandma Chi San reluctant to leave this world and wanted to enjoy it for a few more years. Because Niu Dajin had already left, Huo Yingji personally sent Grandma Chi, Old Man Chi, and Chi Xiao Yan's mother and son back to Daowen County. Huo Yingji followed him back, not only to give them away, but also to go to the cave in the back mountain to pick jujubes in the cave in the back mountain, as well as the kinwei grass he planted. Especially kinwei grass, the demand is relatively high this year, so Huo Yingji got some more. At the same time, I also brought some seedlings back and planted them near Suanwu Lake, where they were taken care of by the little spinner turtles. Seeing Huo Yingji's arrival, village chief Chi secretly went to the back mountain to pick dozens of kilograms of early ripening peaches and brought them to Huo Yingji. Zhao Dejiao and Aunt Lu gave Huo Yingji some wild products picked in the mountains. When Huo Yingji came, he brought many gifts for everyone. When we went back, everyone gave back more. After going back and forth, it took Huo Yingji 4 days to get home. In the next few days, He Tian was tidying up the bedding at home. She washed them all and put them away, cleaning them inside and out. He Tian likes it here because she can go into the water whenever she wants to swim at night. But Huo Yingji was with her every time, otherwise she would not dare to go into the water alone. Huo Jekan and Zhang Lifang have moved back to their original compound to facilitate their work. Since school has not started yet, He Tian still likes to live by the lake. Seeing Huo Yingji coming back, a large plate of peaches was placed on the table. The two children each held a peach in their hands and ate it. And there are peaches, he Tian said in surprise, put down what she was holding, picked up the peach and took a big bite. It still tastes so good. Village Chief Chi Shu secretly picked it for me, Huo Yingji said. I gave him dozens of kilograms. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 687. 685. After eating the peach, he Tian had time to answer Huo Yingji's words. While eating the peach, he Tian would think about the things in Kijia village in the past. There were setbacks, but more were good memories. At the same time, it also made her understand that everything depends on oneself, and the help of others is more useful. Village Chief Chi is actually a very good person. Although these are peach trees in the village, if he had not insisted on developing the peach orchard against all odds, there would not be such good peaches, he Tian said. Although it is a bit disrespectful, he is really doing good things for the Chi family. Yes, many people in Kijia village also know it, Huo Yingji said. Everyone loves him very much. Unlike some village cotters, they only do things for their own homes and do not help the village to develop. Now Kijia village has changed a lot. Most people in the village have moved into big tiled houses. Really, he Tian said in surprise, but it's normal to think about it. Kijia village was richer than other villages before. Now there is a canning factory and a market, and it was the first to realize the distribution of land to households. Every household has food and money to build a house. It's the most normal. Huo Yingji nodded and said, life in the village is getting better and better. The children are studying hard every day. It is a vibrant village. Just as Huo Yingji and he Tian were laughing and joking, Huo Jekan and Zhang Lifang came over together. Dad, Mom, why are you here? He Tian asked curiously. They had agreed yesterday that they would go back tomorrow. Zhang Lifang looked embarrassed and winked at Huo Jekan. Huo Yingji and he Tian looked at each other. What happened? Dad, Mom, what happened? Huo Yingji asked. You guys make me feel uneasy. Ahem, Huo Jekan coughed twice and cleared his throat. Actually, it's not a big deal, but a little. Okay, show the things to Yingji himself. Zhang Lifang snatched the cowhide bag from her husband's hand. Huo Yingji was stunned, and his eyes fell on a red five-pointed star on the brown paper tape. It's over, it's definitely a work matter. Huo Yingji took it and opened it quickly. It was indeed a first-level transfer order, requiring Huo Yingji to report to the designated unit within 3 days after receiving the transfer order. Looking at the address above, fortunately, it was Nanxi Science and Technology Research Institute. He Tian had a bad feeling and asked cautiously, Brother Yingji, what's wrong? I received a national first-level transfer order and must report to the Nanxi Institute within 3 days, Huo Yingji said softly, looking at He Tian with guilt. He said that he would stay with her well. However, he didn't expect that he had to leave with a transfer order. Huo Yingji smiled bitterly. He knew so many secrets, how could the country let him leave easily? Unless he was really stupid and disabled. Is it dangerous? He Tian asked worriedly. The separation of husband and wife was nothing, and she was raising the children alone, but she was afraid that Huo Yingji would be like last time, who went well and came back unconscious and almost became a fool. This is at the Nanxi Institute of Science and Technology, there should be no danger, Huo Yingji comforted He Tian. He was no longer the Huo Yingji who only knew how to work in his previous life. With her, a family, and concerns, he would not work so hard, so there would be no big danger. That's good, I hope there's no danger, He Tian said softly. I'll pack your luggage for you, you can go without worry. Don't worry so much. Huo Yingji held He Tian's hand, trying to comfort the sad He Tian. Huo Jekan and Zhang Lifang took the two children away, and did not stay for dinner, so that the couple could talk. Seeing her parents-in-law like this, He Tian felt a little embarrassed, which diluted her sadness. Huo Yingji sat on the bench by the lake, and He Tian lay on the chair with her head on Huo Yingji's thigh, facing the lake, and said nothing. Tian, I. Huo Yingji wanted to say, but those words of comfort seemed pale at this moment, and he stopped again. Brother Yingji, I know what you want to say, He Tian said. Don't feel guilty, we are together now, it's just because of work, you have to leave, it's nothing. Anyway, you are going to the South City Research Institute, you are on vacation, you can come back to see us. Okay, Huo Yingji nodded, his wife is always so considerate. Okay, since you can't refuse, then do it well, He Tian said, when you become a big leader, you can give yourself a holiday. Huo Yingji thought it was a good idea. The transfer order was harsh, and he would not be able to leave the organization in the short term. In this case, he would work hard and strive for the greatest benefits. When he becomes the general manager, he can formulate a rest policy. He wants 2 days off, 2 days off. He can go home. Okay, Huo Yingji agreed. Okay, no more talking, swim with me. Okay, Huo Yingji agreed to everything. He Tian jumped directly into the water like a cute mermaid. It took more than 10 seconds for her to surface, but she was already more than 10 meters away. Huo Yingji also jumped into the water and swam happily with He Tian. Because Huo Yingji was with her, He Tian swam very happily and was a little reluctant to leave. By the way, I asked you to dig up the peach blossom wine that my mother used to make. Did you bring it? He Tian changed into dry pajamas. Bring it. Huo Yingji entered the room and brought out a jar of wine. There are probably 5 or 6 kilograms of peach blossom wine in the wine jar. He Tian took out 2 bowls from the kitchen, poured wine in, picked up the small bowl, and said, "Here, cheers." Huo Yingji picked up another small bowl and touched it with the small bowl in He Tian's hand. After touching it, He Tian picked it up and drank it. He Tian's drinking capacity is very light. Whenever he drinks, his face will be covered with a layer of blush. Just wine and no food, wouldn't it be nice? Huo Yingji went to the kitchen, but there was no ready-made food in the kitchen. The little drunkard outside is drinking and will not come over to prepare food and drinks. Huo Yingji was not confident in his cooking skills, so he just washed a few peaches. Seeing Huo Yingji take out some peaches, He Tian laughed and said, "Peach blossom wine and peaches. A perfect match." So, He Tian held the bowl in one hand and the peach in the other. Clink glasses with Huo Yingji once, then take a sip of wine and a bite of peach. The sweetness of peaches makes the peach blossom wine even sweeter, the mellow aroma of wine makes the aroma of peach even more delicious. Unconsciously, He Tian had drank 4 or 5 bowls of wine. Even if it is peach blossom wine, which is relatively low in reading, a small bowl costs 3 taels. After eating 1 peach, one has to drink a pound of peach blossom wine. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 688. 686. Huo Yingji always knew that He Tian was a well-hidden little drunkard. After drinking, He Tian's eyes were drowsy and her face was red. She spoke slowly and thought slower, but the coquettishness she exuded was what Huo Yingji liked the most. "Okay, don't drink too much, it will hurt your health," Huo Yingji persuaded, trying to take the small bowl from He Tian's hand. He Tian dodged, turned around in a circle, smiled stupidly, and said, "No, I want to drink. It's rare to have a good time and beautiful scenery, how can you live up to such a good time?" Huo Yingji smiled, stepped forward, gently hugged He Tian Tian and said, "Okay, if you want to drink, I'll drink with you." It turned out that He Tian Tian who was drinking was so charming and cute. Perhaps, in the future, he will also make some peach blossom, osmanthus, and chrysanthemum stuffs. There is nothing to do in the free time, the moon is shining brightly, the two of them have a drink together, it is a very interesting time. Between the lips and teeth, there is a scent of peach blossom wine. At this moment, Huo Yingjia's ears seemed to be reminded of his favorite song from his previous life. Between your eyebrows. Lock up my pity. Between your lips and teeth. Keep my oath. All your moves. Control my sight. You are my poem. I won't get tired of reading you 1,000 times. At that time, on countless lonely nights, he listened to this song and thought about the person who fascinated him and never forgot him. At night, the two hugged each other and released their love for each other. The warmth melts away and the joy is endless. The night is still very long. Early the next morning, when He Tian Tian woke up, the sun was already rising high. He Tian Tian sat up lazily. Huo Yingjia came in and smiled softly, "Why don't you sleep a little longer?" "I'm not sleepy anymore," He Tian Tian said, "Brother Yingjia, help me get my clothes." "Okay," Huo Yingjia stood up. He originally wanted to take the short-sleeved dress, but then he thought that He Tian Tian had some red marks left by him. Anyone who is a man knows what is going on. Such beautiful things only belong to him and cannot be seen by other men. Huo Yingjia looked at it and directly picked up a long-sleeved thin autumn dress. It was violet in color, elegant, and had cute little lapels. "Brother Yingjia, don't you feel hot?" He Tian Tian was surprised when he saw the clothes Huo Yingjia brought over. He could obviously wear short-sleeved skirts. "Oh, it's a bit hot," Huo Yingjia nodded, turned around and picked up a pair of summer trousers and a pink long-sleeved shirt with a stand-up collar. "Actually, I want to wear a short-sleeved skirt." He Tian Tian pouted and acted coquettishly towards her husband. "Oh, why are you holding me?" He Tian Tian was startled and quickly hugged Huo Yingjia's neck to prevent herself from falling. Princess Huo Yingjia hugged He Tian Tian and stood in front of the mirror. Fortunately, He Tian Tian had a thin blanket on her body, and in a hurry, she instinctively wrapped it around her body. In the mirror, a pretty woman wrapped in a light blue thin blanket appeared in the mirror. The woman has fair skin, but her fair skin is good, with countless red marks, like dots of red plums, falling on her body. As a mother of two, I naturally understand what those red marks mean. He Tian Tian looked shy and lay on Huo Yingjia's chest, not daring to raise her head. She whispered, "Okay, I'll just wear this one." He Tian Tian is still tired and doesn't want to continue being ridiculous. "I'm leaving tomorrow." However, Huo Yingjia only used one sentence to make He Tian Tian surrender. "Yes, I don't know when I will see Huo Yingjia next time." When I woke up again, it was already 11 o'clock in the morning. The two were hungry and heard each other's stomachs growling. He Tian Tian and Huo Yingjia looked at each other and smiled, they couldn't continue this time. There was a solar water heater made by Huo Yingjia at home. He Tian Tian took a bath, put on clean clothes, and started cooking. He Tian Tian cleared out all the ingredients in the refrigerator factory, made a table, and ate with Huo Yingjia. After tidying up the house by the lake, unplugging the power, closing the water gate, and carrying their usual large and small bags of clothing, the couple returned to their old house. In the evening, the father-in-law and mother-in-law also wanted to practice for Huo Yingjia, so after He Tian Tian went home, he cooked a table of food and drinks. Even if you are reluctant to let go, some things are never easy. During the dinner, Huo Jekan and Huo Yingjia were drinking and talking about work. "Yingjia, I know you have resentment in your heart. As a father, I feel sorry for you, but as a small individual, we rely on the country to survive. This country may not be perfect, but without this country, there will be no complete life. Zyajia, Your company has been giving you salary allowances all these years. Now that the institute needs you, you have to fulfill your responsibilities, Huo Jekan said seriously. He must make it clear to Huo Yingja before his son goes to the company, so as not to go to work with resentment in your heart. Extra, 2, Death. In front of him was a mummy. Yes, it is a shell that has no flesh and blood. Expelling the shell? Although his appearance has changed a lot, Huo Yingja can still feel familiar. Why is the pain in his heart getting stronger and stronger? Huo Yingja squatted on the ground, stretched out his hand tremblingly, brushed the hair from the woman's face, and saw a red mole behind her ear. Is her. It's really her. When Assistant Yu around him saw this situation, he immediately called 120 and 110 to call the police. Why? Are you going to die? Huo Yingja choked and whispered, tears streaming down his cheeks. You have a family and a husband, why don't you live a good life? Why did you die so cruelly? Chairman, I called 120, 110, and someone will be here in a moment, Assistant Yu said softly. He has been with the chairman for 10 years, and he has never seen the chairman so sad and gloomy. What does this woman, dressed like a rural woman, have to do with the chairman? Relatives? No, the chairman's relatives are all in Yanjing, and they can't be dressed so down. It's not a private visit incognito. If he is not a relative, why would the chairman do this? Assistant Yu was puzzled. Police. Such a disappointment, I can't even find out what's going on. Huo Yingja opened a semi-old black patent leather bag next to her and found her wallet. The ID card inside further confirmed her identity. His eyes fell on the recorder. He didn't understand why she had a voice recorder on her body. Huo Yingja pressed the switch, and 2 women's voices came from inside. Although he only listened to the first few minutes, Huo Yingja already understood that Tianation's environment and life were not as happy as he imagined. At this time, the sound of 120 and 110 whistles came closer and closer. Huo Yingja took the recording pen inside and put it in his pocket. Assistant Yu was stunned and reminded, Chairman, this is not good. I didn't take anything. Huo Yingja glanced at Assistant Yu. Assistant Yu was stunned. The chairman opened his eyes and told lies. Still staring at him. I'm dizzy. Is the chairman threatening him? Anyway, this person was not killed by the chairman. He had nothing to do with this woman, so he better stop meddling in his own business. The chairman, such a calm person, actually showed such a sad expression and 2 lines of tears. This shows that this woman is a very important person to the chairman. I hope the police will find out the results, but I don't know when. The ambulance came and then left, because they were already dead and in such a state that even resuscitation could not be done. The police were shocked when they saw such a death scene and hurriedly opened a case to investigate. The identity of the deceased was obtained from the deceased's wallet. After investigation, the family of the deceased was contacted. Mr. Huo, Mr. Yu, you are the first witnesses. Please come with us to the police station to take notes. A man who looked like a police sergeant came forward and said politely. The reason for being so polite was, on the one hand, because of Huo Yingja's status, on the other hand, it was because the death of this woman was very special and was not caused by ordinary means. Mr. Huo and Mr. Yu have no motive for committing the crime, and it is impossible for them to commit such a crime. A correct determination of the cause of death must be made after an autopsy. Okay, Huo Yingja nodded. He wanted to see her off for the last time. Along the way, Huo Yingja was silent and indifferent. However, all this is to hide the sadness in my heart. When they arrived at the police station, Chief Wu personally came to take a statement and asked, Mr. Huo, why are you there? Huo Yingja said softly, Da Yushu Alley has been recently developed. That's where I was born and lived. I want to see it and take a walk. Then how did you find the victim? Sheriff Wu asked cautiously, a little nervously. We heard a pop over there, and I happened to be standing next to that yard, so I came over to take a look, Huo Yingji said. I didn't expect to see it. Huo Yingji couldn't speak anymore. Seeing that Huo Yingji's expression was a little strange, Chief Wu asked cautiously, then, do you know the victim? Huo Yingji nodded and said, before you came, her bag fell to the ground and her wallet fell out. I saw her ID card from inside. Do I know who she is? So, do you really know each other? Sheriff Wu asked in surprise. The deceased did not expect that he was really related to Huo Yingji. Yes, we know each other, Huo Yingji said. I was standing in the original yard of my house, and she was standing in the yard next door, which was her hometown. Later she became an educated youth and got married locally. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 689. 687. Huo Yingji understood his father's thoughts. However, no matter what, he still had to be separated from his family. However, my father was right. He had used his work allowance for several years and it would not be good for him to just walk away. Now that the country has issued a mandatory summons, Huo Yingji has to go. Go ahead, anyway, from now on, you have to put your family first, yourself second, and work third. Father, I've written it down, Huo Yingji nodded. Tian Tian and the child will be left to you and mother, Grandma Wang. Especially the two children, who are naughty now. Tian Tian still has to go to school and manage the shop. Huo Jekan felt happy when his son said this. He nodded and said, son, it's good if you can figure it out. As for the children, you don't have to worry. We adults can take care of the children. After all, it was Zhang Lifang who felt sorry for her son and asked, Yingji, you never thought of letting He Tian Tian go to the work with you? After all, with your position, you should be able to bring your family. Huo Yingji smiled bitterly, rubbed his face and said, I would like to take care of Tian Tian, but Tian Tian has to go to school and take care of the children. Although there are schools and hospitals in the institute, it is a closed environment after all, which is not conducive to the growth of children. Not good, so I don't want to take them there. After hearing this, Zhang Lifang felt that Huo Yingji's concerns were not unreasonable, and that they were indeed not suitable for the child's growth. Hey, isn't it bad that you two branches are so young? Zhang Lifang was in a dilemma. Hey, why can't we have a solution that has both ends? It's okay, I'll try my best to get a holiday, Huo Yingji comforted. Mom, I'm going to leave a lot to you at home. Well, don't worry, Zhang Lifang nodded and told her son not to worry. Seeing that the mother and son were in a low mood, Huo Jekan laughed and said, well, Yingji always has his own career, but if you don't work hard when you are young, why don't you wait until you are old to work hard? Yes, what Dad said is true, I wrote it down, Huo Yingji smiled. In his previous prediction, he did not expect that the company would give him more than 3 years. In fact, it was already a long time, and it was longer than he expected. Long. Huo Jekan and Zhang Lifang returned to the yard next door, while Grandma Wang took the two children to rest. He Tian Tian was packing up the gifts for Huo Yingji. After leaving, she didn't know when she would be back. He Tian Tian prepared several summer clothes, 7 or 8 autumn clothes, 2 winter clothes, and several pairs of shoes for Huo Yingji, and packed 2 large boxes inside and outside. There are also some toiletries that Huo Yingji usually uses at home. The weather is quite hot now, and braised pork is not easy to bring because it goes bad easily, so He Tian Tian brought a lot of long-lasting snacks. When the time comes, part of it will be given to Mr. Sun, and the other part will be given to colleagues. At night, He Tian Tian lay in Huo Yingji's arms, quietly. Huo Yingji was also enjoying the tranquility at this moment. I will come back to see you and the child as soon as possible, Huo Yingji said softly, not only for He Tian Tian but also for himself. You can work with peace of mind, and don't worry at home. He Tian Tian smiled, she would protect her children and this family with her life. Huo Yingji kissed He Tianatian's smooth forehead and said softly, during my absence, if you want to go out alone, you must bring the little spinner with you. Aren't you going to take the little turtle away? He Tian Tian raised her upper body slightly and placed her hands on Huo Yingji's chest. The little spirit snake has left and can't protect you, so I have to leave the little turtle next to you to protect you, Huo Yingji said. Besides, don't worry about me. I'm better than you think. No one can, you can't get me. Hearing this, He Tian Tian thought of Huo Yingji's magical powers, nodded and said, okay, I'll remember it. With the little spin turtle, I'm not afraid anymore. Well, yes, Huo Yingji smiled, it's getting late, go to sleep. Okay, He Tian Tian lay on Huo Yingji's chest again and fell asleep peacefully. Huo Yingji couldn't sleep. He still had a lot of things to do. When He Tian Tian fell asleep, Huo Yingji gently took away He Tianatian's arm and let her sleep on the bed, covering her with a thin blanket. Huo Yingji used the fastest time to set up protective barriers with his parents, his home, the yard by the lake, and the nearby lake. When ordinary people come in, there will be no reaction. If they are so-called practitioners, or other people with special abilities who have malicious intentions, even if they can come in, as long as they are malicious, all their abilities will disappear. The little spin turtle slowly came out from the corner and asked in a low voice, Master, are you leaving? Yes, I will leave tomorrow, Huo Yingji said. From now on, when Tian Tian goes to school, you have to follow her and protect her. I've noted it down, Master, said the little spin turtle. Huo Yingji made a magic spell and hit it on the little spin turtle's head. The little spin turtle was a little confused at first, but when he felt that there were more techniques in his mind, he was pleasantly surprised. Master, Master, as long as I learn these skills, I can reshape my body and become a real spin turtle, the little spin turtle asked excitedly. It not only wants to increase its strength, it also wants a living body. So that he can also find a wife and give birth to a nest of little spinner turtles. Huo Yingji smiled and said, your physical body has disappeared long ago. After you have mastered the technique I gave you, you can find a turtle that is strong enough to be your body. Then you can use the second half. The magic technique can slowly change the physical body, and over time, it can be transformed into a spinning turtle. Yes, yes, the little spinner turtle was very happy and nodded repeatedly, Master, I have written it down and I will work hard. You must help me take care of my family, Huo Yingji confessed. Although he did not say the threat, the little spinner could feel it. Master, little spin turtle promises with my soul that I will protect my wife and little master, little spin turtle said, this is his responsibility and mission. Very good, Huo Yingji said before turning back to the house. Lying down on the bed again, He Tian Tian automatically fell into Huo Yingji's arms with just a small movement. He was already used to this warm embrace. He Tian Tian slept well at night and woke up at dawn the next morning. It was still early, so He Tian Tian looked longingly at Huo Yingji's sleeping face in the hazy morning light. The more I look at it, the more handsome I feel. Fortunately, it's hers now. From the hair on her head to the toenails on her toes, everything is hers. Perhaps because He Tianatian's eyes were more intense, Huo Yingji woke up and slowly opened his eyes. Are you awake? Huo Yingji whispered, his voice a bit hoarse in the morning, and his eyelids were swollen. The Sweetness of the Seventies. Author, Chi Xing Cao. Chapter 690. He Tian Tian smiled and said, I woke up long ago. It's still early, let's sleep a little longer, Huo Yingji said softly. When He Tian Tian woke up, He Tian Tian was alone. He Tian Tian looked at the alarm clock, it was already 11 o'clock. Looking in front of the closet again, Huo Yingji's salute had disappeared. Only then did he remember that Huo Yingji was on the 10 o'clock train. He Tian Tian was a little annoyed that she actually fell asleep and did not see her husband off. When Grandma Wang saw He Tian Tian coming out, she smiled and said, "The food is in the kitchen. You can bring it out hot and eat it yourself." "Thank you, Grandma Wang," He Tian Tian smiled. He Tian Tian brought out the food and watched the two children playing happily in the yard while eating. "Mom, Mom, you stay in bed." Hua Ruimin ran over holding the little ball. "You are not a good boy." "Well, she does not seem to be a good mother. Mom won't stay in bed anymore. Please ask Ruimin to supervise Mom from now on." "Okay," He Tian Tian patiently explained that she wanted to set a good example for her children. Grandma Wang said that Mom is very tired and asked us not to disturb Mom. Hua Ruimin said in a serious manner, like a little adult. There were 3 drops of sweat on He Tianation's head. Well, she was very tired. Hua Ruwa on the side whispered, "Dad is gone." Hua Ruwa doesn't like to talk. If one sentence can express his meaning, he will never say the second sentence. Just these 4 words, "Dad is gone," coupled with a sad expression, you know what he wants to express. "Dad, go earn money for Ruwa and Ruimin to buy toys and good things." He Tian Tian smiled and said, "The children are very smart." When they saw Huo Yingji taking the luggage bag, they thought that their father was gone and would not come back. Then, "Will Dad come back?" Huo Ruimin asked. She liked her dad very much and he could hold her and play with her. He Tian Tian smiled, hugged one and said, "Dad, of course he will come back. With such cute little babies like you two at home, Dad will definitely come back. There are photos of Dad at home, and you will be with him every morning and evening. Dad says hello and he will come back soon if he can hear it." Really, the 2 children looked at their mother with bright eyes. "Mom never lies, it's true," He Tian Tian said righteously. For children, some white lies will make them happier. Maybe when they grow up, they will know the truth, but they get more from white lies. I made a note of it. From now on, I will give my dad a good morning kiss in the morning and a good night kiss in the evening. Dad will be back. Hua Ruimin automatically upgraded from saying hello to giving her dad a good morning kiss and a good night kiss. He Tian Tian turned her face sideways, pointed to her cheek, and said, "Baby Ruimin, come and give one to mommy first." "Ba," Hua Ruimin expressed her love with actions. Hua Ruwa was a little embarrassed, but seeing her mother's happy look, she also walked over to her mother and kissed her other cheek. He Tian Tian also kissed them. However, Hua Ruimin got a look of disgust and complained, "Mom, you haven't brushed your teeth yet." Alas, the distance between the little angel and the little devil is only a sentence. Grandma Wang originally thought that He Tian Tian would be depressed for a while. After all, they usually go alone wherever they go, and the husband sings and the wife follows. Now that Huo Yingji suddenly left, He Tian Tian would definitely not be used to it. However, seeing He Tianation's smile, Aunt Wang felt that she had thought too much before. Women are very strange animals. When a man is around, they can't help but rely on him. When a man is away, they can still live strong and cool. Huo Jekan and Zhang Lifang stopped going out to socialize after get off work and went home directly to take care of the children with Grandma Wang. School will start in 2 days, and He Tian Tian is packing things for school. The day before school started, Wu Yaoliang and Huang Jingli came over. Huang Jingli is already pregnant, but she is in good health and her movements are quite agile. "Sister Jingli, do you want to move out of the dormitory?" He Tian Tian asked. Since she couldn't use that house for the time being, she could lend it to Huang Jingli first. Wu Yaoliang smiled and said, "We are going to move out. We told my parents about our plans when we got back, and they agreed with us moving out of the dormitory. But my dad said we don't need to live in your yard. He has been earning money with you in the past 6 months. He spent a lot of money and bought us a yard near the school for 6,000 yuan. The yard was similar to this one and was close to the school, so we bought it. After hearing this, He Tian was pleasantly surprised and said, "That's good. If you buy a house, you will have a place to stay when you work in Nanji." "Yeah, I always feel that houses are cheap now, so I won't suffer a loss if I buy it," Huang Jingli said. "If he does suffer a loss, how can a smart person like He Tian and Huo Yingzhe be willing to waste so much money?" "Haha, it's not a loss after buying it," He Tian smiled. "I have to say that Huang Jingli is not the top smart, but she can see the situation clearly." Wu Yaoliang smiled and said, "Yes, from now on, my dad and my cousin can stay at my house if they don't have time to rush back. My mother can also come over and cook something delicious for Jingli sometimes." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Sweetness of the Seventies. Author, Chi Sing Cao. Chapter 691. 689. He Tian smiled. It was normal for the Wu family to have such an idea. Living in someone else's house was never as comfortable as living in your own home. "Okay, if you need anything in the future, you can tell me," He Tian smiled. She liked to get along with the Wu family and get close to them, but she would not be greedy and would always know when to stop. "I will never be polite," Huang Jingli smiled. Whether it was getting into college, meeting her husband, or having a wealthy family now, it was all brought by He Tian. Huang Jingli has always been grateful. Wu Yaoliang looked around and didn't see Huo Yingzhe, so he asked, "Tian, where is Huo Yingzhe?" When hearing Wu Yaoliang asking about Huo Yingzhe, He Tian felt a little sad, but then she smiled and said, "Yingzhe received a national first-level transfer order 2 days ago and has reported to the unit." "Ah," Wu Yaoliang was stunned, "I was thinking about hanging out with Huo Yingzhe in the future." He Tian smiled and said, "Don't worry, you have excellent grades and will find a satisfactory unit." It had been agreed before that they would go to the Nanmin Civil Research Institute, but Huo Yingzhe couldn't go, but Wu Yaoliang could still go. "Yes, it still depends on the grades," Wu Yaoliang said. Thinking about Huo Yingzhe leaving, He Tian was very sad, so he stopped mentioning Huo Yingzhe. Huang Jingli was also smart, and took the opportunity to ask He Tian about some precautions for pregnancy and some experience in raising children. Speaking of children, He Tian's mood really improved. School started, and He Tian strolled under the sycamore trees in the school. It was already autumn now, and some sycamore leaves turned yellow and fell to the ground. In the new semester, there are many new faces in the school, full of vigor and hope, eager to learn all kinds of knowledge. He Tian also felt the same when she came to school to register. Busy study, fulfilling life. But he was not around. Fortunately, He Tian was really busy, and except at night, she had no time to think about Huo Yingzhe. He Tian came to the classroom 20 minutes earlier today, took out the textbook, and began to review the content of the last class. At this time, Huang Jingli came in from outside with a bulging belly and a pale face. He Tian originally just wanted to say hello, but seeing Huang Jingli's face, she thought Huang Jingli was not feeling well and hurriedly asked, "Sister Jingli, what's wrong with you? Are you feeling uncomfortable in your stomach?" Huang Jingli took a few deep breaths to calm down, and then stammered, Tian, then Linziru came to see me just now." "Linziru?" He Tian was surprised. "Why did she come to see you? What did she say that scared you so much?" Huang Jingli wiped the sweat from her forehead and said, She was admitted to the University of Finance and Economics in Nanji, and said that she had no money and asked me to borrow money. If I don't lend it, she will. Huang Jingli was a little nervous, so she couldn't say a complete sentence. "She threatened you again? What did she threaten you with?" He Tian asked, trying to comfort Huang Jingli. "As long as you have done nothing wrong, Don't be afraid of other people's threats. At worst, you still have friends like us. We can't just watch you get bullied. I didn't do anything wrong, but she still threatened me with the same excuse as before. Huang Jingli smiled bitterly. She talked about my family's landlord background and said that I was about to graduate and get a job. If I don't lend her money, she will report that my background is not good and I can't get a good job. Haha, He Tian smiled. It's 1979 now, and it's 1980. Many things are different from before. When assigning a job, it doesn't just look at the background, but also the grades and the political status in school. Hearing He Tian's words, Huang Jingli felt relieved. She had joined the party and was indeed different now. You may not understand Lin Xiaoru, but I understand her. She is a vampire who will not stop until she achieves her goal. Huang Jingli smiled bitterly. The days of worrying and fearing in Qijia village left her with a deep shadow. He Tian patted Huang Jingli's shoulder and said with a smile, Sister Jingli, now is an open society, you should not be as timid as before. You should be as confident as you were in school, and don't be afraid of Lin Xiaoru. As long as you have the courage to fight her, Lin Xiaoru can't do anything to you. Hey, I'm just a little worried now, not afraid of her. Huang Jingli said, I'm just afraid that Lin Xiaoru is like a maggot, biting people not to death, but disgusting. Haha, your metaphor is quite appropriate. He Tian smiled, as long as you walk upright and sit upright, you are not afraid of Lin Xiaoru's destruction. Huang Jingli nodded and said, I won't walk alone in the future, lest that woman jumps over the wall in desperation. If it is normal, I am not afraid. Now I have a child, I can't be careless. Well, in the future, you and I will go in and out of the class together. After school, let Wu Yaoliang come to pick you up. He Tian said, if he is not free, I will take you home. After He Tian's counseling, Huang Jingli was relieved. Except for the previous emotional fluctuations, she was not greatly affected. Who would have thought that a few days later, Huang Jingli came out of the office with red eyes. Sister Jingli, what's wrong with you? He Tian asked. She was fine when she entered the office, why is she crying now? Huang Jingli choked up and said, someone reported that I behaved improperly during my time as an educated youth and wrote a lot of ugly words. Except Lin Xiaoru, there will be no other person who does such a boring thing. He Tian sneered. Lin Xiaoru also often reported her before. And has been threatening Huang Jingli. Now that I have arrived in Nanxi, I have started my old tricks again. It is true that as Huang Jingli said, the bite cannot kill, but it is really disgusting. This woman can't use a new approach. It should be her. Huang Jingli smiled bitterly. Last time she blocked me at the door of our house and asked me for money, but I didn't give it. I knew that if I gave it, she would stare at me even more in the future. When she left, I will definitely regret it. Then do you regret it now? He Tian asked, hoping that Huang Jingli could write bravely. Of course I don't regret it. I have seen clearly that Lin Xiaoru is an insatiable person. Huang Jingli said, now I compromise for the sake of my job. Even after I join the job, she will go to my unit to spread rumors. Rather than spend her whole life being criticized. It's better to resolve the threat this time. Hearing Huang Jingli's words, He Tian was very relieved that she had not become weak and confused, so this matter could be solved easily. Sister Jingli, you are right to think this way. If you give in once, you will be threatened by Lin Xiaoru for the rest of your life. He Tian said, please be patient with this matter first, and call Kui Ying, Huashan, and your husband tonight, let's discuss it carefully. Well, thank you Tian, Huang Jingli said gratefully. Fortunately, there were several young people in the city who were in Qijia village at the time who could testify for her. The Sweetness of the 70s. Author, Chi Xing Cao. Chapter 692. 690. At this moment, Kui Ying came over and whispered, Tian, Teacher Chen asked you to come over. Kui Ying looked at Huang Jingli again. Hey, that Lin Xiru is really haunting. Before that, Teacher Chen approached Huashan and Kui Ying to learn about the situation. Now it is He Tianatian's turn. Teacher Chen likes Huang Jingli very much, a diligent student, and is also his effective class coder. He usually helps him with things, and naturally he doesn't want Huang Jingli to get into trouble because of his style. Okay, I'll go over right now, He Tiantian said softly. Sister Jingli, don't worry, Kui Ying and I are here to testify for you. After all, you have a child. If something happens to the child, that's the real big deal. Where is your child? Those clowns will not end well. You can't harm your child because of that hateful woman. I understand. Huang Jingli nodded and clenched her fists. He Tiantian was right. She was not alone now. She had a child in her belly and a family. He Tiantian arrived at the door and knocked on the door. Come in. Teacher Chen's voice came from inside. He Tiantian came in, closed the door, and said politely, Teacher Chen, why did you ask me to come here? Look at this report letter, Teacher Chen said softly, and then pushed the two pieces of paper on the table towards He Tiantian. He Tiantian took it over, pretended not to know, frowned, and said, Teacher Chen, this is slander. Huang Jingli and I came to Qijia village together and have been together for several years. She did not do what was written in the report letter. Kui Ying performed well in Qijia village, but they went there relatively late and didn't know about the previous one, so I called you over to understand the situation. Teacher Chen said, since you said so, of course I believe my students. That's good, he didn't disappoint. Hearing what Teacher Chen said, He Tiantian breathed a sigh of relief and said, Teacher Chen, I can actually guess who wrote this letter. Oh, Teacher Chen raised his head, is there any hidden secret in it? There is a hidden secret, He Tiantian said. A few days ago, I saw Sister Jingli's face was pale. After questioning, it turned out that she was a female educated youth who came to Qijia village with us before. She was admitted to our Nanji Finance and Economics School. University. This person's name was Lin Xiru. When she was in Qijia village, she often threatened Huang Jingli to do her laundry, cooking, and work. Later, Lin Xiru was good at singing and dancing and went to the county. The propaganda team in the village. After she left Qijia village, Huang Jingli lived a peaceful life. The educated youth in the settlement area loved to study, and Huang Jingli also followed her studies, so after the news came that she could take the college entrance examination, we were able to do so in the shortest possible time. Review and get into college. This Lin Xiru, after hearing that she could get into college, returned to the village shamelessly. But she had been having fun and didn't study hard, so she didn't get into the exam. We were jealous of us, but she didn't dare to provoke me, because she provoked me in Qijia village and was taught a lesson by me, so she bullied Huang Jingli. This girl is going too far, Teacher Chen said. Then how are you sure it was written by Lin Xiru? He Tiantian looked disgusted and said, some time ago, Lin Xiru approached Huang Jingli and asked her to borrow money. Lin Xiru had such a temper that she directly occupied part of Huang Jingli's subsidies and food when she was in the countryside. What she meant by borrowing money was she came directly to ask for money. If Huang Jingli didn't give it, she threatened Huang Jingli. Isn't it a coincidence that you received such a letter in just a few days? Hey, it's true. Teacher Chen smiled bitterly. Okay, I understand the situation. Please reassure Huang Jingli that the school will not deny her efforts and achievements because of these false reports. Seeing Teacher Chen say this, He Tiantian felt relieved. Thank you, Teacher Chen. He Tiantian said, it's not easy for Huang Jingli to get into college, and she is still pregnant. If we don't support her, we will let those villains take advantage of her. Yes, such a person with evil intentions is not worthy of being angry. If you have time, please explain to Huang Jingli. Teacher Chen nodded. He had been reported before. He had suffered a lot, and was feeling depressed. Chew. Things are different now. We cannot ruin a promising student with a groundless report letter. After He Tiantian returned, she told Huang Jingli about teacher Chen's attitude. Thank you, Tiantian, Kui Ying. Huang Jingli said gratefully, let's go to my house for dinner at noon. My father-in-law sent a lot of things over yesterday. I can treat you all to a good meal. Okay, then we're welcome, He Tiantian said with a smile. The Wu family's life is easy now. They have an income of 1 or 2,000 a month. They occasionally go to Huang Jingli's house to eat, which is not enough for her. Kui Ying smiled and said, the food in the cafeteria is not delicious, so I just went to Huang Jingli's house to satisfy my craving. By the way, can I call you up to Huashan? Of course, let's go together, Huang Jingli said with a smile. Fortunately, she had these friends by her side. Without them, not only would there be no one from the teacher to give her proof, but she would also not be able to explain it to her parents-in-law or her husband. A good life was almost shattered by Lin Xiru. Huang Jingli hated Lin Xiru very much. After school at noon, Huashan, Wu Yaoliang met at the door of the class in the Chinese department. It happened that Huang Jingli came out with He Tiantian and Kui Ying and asked them to go home with them for dinner. Huashan was naturally happy to go to Wu Yaoliang's house to eat, instead of eating boiled vegetables from the canteen. Unexpectedly, as soon as he left the school gate, he met Lin Xiru. Lin Xiru's eyes flickered when she saw Huang Jingli and the others, especially when she saw He Tiantian. She took 2 steps back, turned and left. Lin Xiru was a little afraid of He Tiantian in her heart. In Qijia village, she had no advantage in several confrontations with He Tiantian. Now in Nanxi, He Tiantian's husband's family is said to be very powerful in Nanxi. If she acts rashly, she may suffer revenge from He Tiantian. Huang Jingli, you are lucky. Just wait and see. With such a useless look, she still wants to escape from Lin Xiru's control and dream. In Lin Xiru's heart, Huang Jingli was still the wimp who was threatened by her in Qijia village. However, she did not realize that the world was changing and so were people. Huang Jingli now has the support of good friends, understanding teachers, and the love of her husband and parents-in-law. She is no longer a pitiful person who can be forced by a person with evil intentions. Seeing Lin Xiru leaving, Kui Ying asked curiously, shouldn't that Lin Xiru come over and make sarcastic remarks and talk arrogantly? Haha, there are so many of us here, and we all know her details. It's strange that she has the nerve to come here, He Tiantian sneered, without any pretense. He Tiantian despised people like Lin Xiru. He obviously has hands and feet, but he chooses to take detours and cause harm to others.